Welcome to the small family with
Andy Brand Bernard.
Kristyn Burt.
we have had, ladies and gentlemen, you would not believe this. This has never happened to me before, but the backups are going to sound interesting too, because I have backups in case somebody can't make it. Well, the comedian canceled at the last minute. I've never heard of the comedian anyway, so I don't know who that is. But
he was on our show a long time ago. His name
was he?
Tricks with two X's.
Tricks with two X's.
Yeah, he was on our show in like 2016.
Oh my God.
Ages ago.
That's going back a bit. Catherine can't be on today because she found a place to put our dog because they're coming back to Minneapolis and she doesn't want to bring the dog back and forth. Alex canceled at the last minute because she is filling in for somebody else. It's one of those. And then I called a couple of people. I called Norm Coleman, right? Politician Norm Coleman.
Yeah, he'd be great to have on one day. You should
He's
try
in Jerusalem.
Yeah, it might be a while, I suppose.
He's in Jerusalem. Well, so what? Why can't you just do the show from Jerusalem?
What time is it in Jerusalem?
Yeah, what time is it?
Probably sleeping.
It is currently 6:30 p.m. Perfect.
Yeah, I thought it was about 7 o'clock. Yeah. So yeah, 6:30 would make more sense.
Perfect time to be on a show.
Isn't that amazing that I know what time it is in Jerusalem?
Well, I mean,
yes, I wouldn't have known.
I would not have. I mean, if I thought about it, because I know GMT, that's 6 hours ahead. Jerusalem, yeah. I would have guessed probably maybe +1 or 2, but it's actually +3.
I have never in my career of 55 years ever had 3 to 4 people cancel at the last minute. Are people getting weirder by the day?
I think comedians are just comedians.
Everyone's just blinking out.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, Catherine and Alex both cancel. It's like, so what you got to do is more important than the show? Don't worry about Andy and Kristyn and me. That's not a problem. In any case, Kristyn Burt, I'll stop complaining.
I'm here.
It's so weird that nothing close to this has ever happened to me before in 55 years of being in the business.
It's Freaky Friday.
Yeah, Freaky Friday. That's true. Kristyn Burt Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabankco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. So we get, as a guest, your husband, which I think is a great thing because you're going to get blasted like there's no tomorrow.
Yay.
He's never been on the show, I don't think.
No.
He is not. No. And you can ask him all about his Ricky Ricardo / Desi Arnaz.
See, the thing about that that's going to be so interesting is it's one of my favorite. It might be my favorite show of all time.
Lucy, he knows a lot about the history because he's had to portray the actor as well as the character. And he can explain there are 2 very separate things. Obviously, we know that, but within the estate, they're considered separate things.
Has any show ever topped that show? It's not possible because there were only 3 channels, I would think, back then. There was CBS, NBC, and I don't know what was the other one called again?
Was it ABC, NBC, CBS, or was it something else at the time?
I don't know. It might have been something else at the time. I do not remember. We had the first television I know in our neighborhood back in 1955. That was back when my father still wanted to work, so we actually had a few dollars.
And everyone came over to watch TV?
He came home one time from work, and he was all nervous. This is a true story. This is 1955, so I was 3 years old, and I still remember it. He comes home from work and he's nervous as hell. He goes, "Oh my God, I just got a raise at work and there's so much pressure on me now because they're paying me a lot of money and I don't know, it puts a lot of pressure on you." He goes, "Look at this." He takes out 5 $100 bills, puts them on the table. He was making a ton of money at $100 a week. My God, think about that. $100 a week was a lot of money back in 1955.
But you could also own a home with $100 a week.
Well, that's exactly right. $5,200 a year. You could buy a car. You could own a home. You could put your kids in private school. I mean,
average home price in 1955 was $7,900. So, yeah.
Now people can't even afford to buy a home, like at all.
God,
like not even a starter home.
Yeah, so $5,200 he was making. That would mean, a year and a half salary.
Easily. You could easily do that.
Which, I think the average salary right now is something like $70,000. So I don't think the average home is, would that be $105,000?
No, it's a little spendier than that. There's no doubt about that.
Let's see, average home price. Well, I guess it depends on the state because it really matters what state you're talking about. So we'll say Minnesota.
But it's kind of interesting. It does happen all the time. My life and my childhood and all that stuff come up and all the rest. We went from living in a snazzy apartment in downtown Minneapolis because my father worked at a print shop, is what he did. He's a very talented printer. He was doing very well. He had a brand new Ford. I do remember that. It was a brand new Ford, a 55 Ford, whatever the hell they were back then. But we had the beautiful apartment. He had a brand new car. He had the 5900. I mean, when he put those $500 bills on the table, you would have thought, oh, it looked like Nana just got back.
Oh, did she?
I think that was her walking back. Either that or is it the burglar in the house?
Average home price in Minnesota is $400,000.
400?
I thought, hey, let's check a more rural area for some more reasonable prices. I grew up in Dayton, pretty rural.
Sure.
$500,000
in Dayton.
In Dayton, Minnesota.
We bought that house, that farm.
89, yeah.
I think we paid $400,000 for the farm. That was 25 acres.
Yes, I know. What's a very rural but not like absurdly rural area in Minnesota now? Is Otsego still rural?
I would say so. Yeah, probably.
Let's see, $400,000.
Oh, jeez.
California average home price is $904,000.
Oh God! Oh God!
Hey, someone in the chat, name a very rural Minnesota city. Oh wait, Long Prairie. How about that?
Long Prairie. That's where I was born.
There we go. Long Prairie, Minnesota.
$4,000.
No, $230.
$230 in Long Prairie, Minnesota.
Nice and affordable.
Honest to God, I swear to God, those places. I think my grandparents bought their farm for like a couple of $1,000.
Dave makes a good point. All the cities I looked at were all in Hennepin County.
No, that is a good point. Hennepin County is a very expensive place to live. So is Ramsey County.
Smallest town in Minnesota. Here we go. Funkly. There we go. Funkly.
Funkly.
Population 18. Are they going to be able to find that data?
Do they have homes for sale in Funkly?
Median property value in Funkly, Minnesota was $22,000.
Oh.
$22,000.
There you go. You want cheap property, you go to Funkly and increase the population of the entire city by like 10% by yourself.
Is anything available for sale in Funkly?
You know what I should do?
Let's check out Zillow. I'm going to look up Funkly, Minnesota. See what we got. Funkly, Minnesota for sale, please. No homes near Funkly.
Nothing. There you go.
You're out of luck.
I have a new desire in my life to move to Funkly, Minnesota, start a radio station, and I want the call letters KKFU. What do you think?
I wonder if that exists already.
Or you could go KK. No, I don't want to do that because this is a family show.
No,
but in any case,
there's no KKFU. I don't think there's a
I don't think.
KKFI.
There you go.
Oh wait, there was. Nope, there still is. KKFU is a thing.
Where is it?
It's an FM station with an antenna atop Mount Alava. What the hell is Mount Alava? That is in American Samoa. So,
American Samoa.
Falling down the Google rabbit hole, you
we
guys.
Sure are.
At this point,
oh, you see any good TV shows lately?
My God.
Yes, exactly right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Kristyn Burt Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabankco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. So, Kristyn Burt, what's the latest?
Well, I think just the big news of the week, we lost the Pope, of course. Yep. The coverage tomorrow for his funeral will be happening. So
you did it to me again.
What did I do?
Now all I can think of is find the Pope into the pizza. That's all I think about when I hear the word Pope. Then the rest of the day I'm going to be thinking about
uncondition you and say it enough times and
yes. I think it's a great idea. It's a magnificent idea, as a matter of fact.
So if anyone is interested in the coverage, it's going to be wall to wall. You know that if you're going to turn on the TV, it's going to be the Pope's funeral, but it begins at 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ooh. So for Minnesota, that will be 3 a.m.
3 a.m.
3 a.m. And it will take place, of course, in St. Peter's Square in front of the Basilica, of course. But this was kind of interesting because we did look this up this week. After the service, Pope Francis's body will be taken to St. Peter's Basilica before it's entombed in the Basilica of St. Mary Major. So he is not going to be buried with the other popes. That was his own decision.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Find the Pope into the pizza. It's the same thing. Which church is it? So why did he do that?
I don't know. It just said that he's the first pontiff in more than 100 years not to be laid to rest in St. Peter's.
Right.
This was the Pope's decision. He confirmed it in 2023.
He wanted to be close to the icon of the Madonna, apparently.
Oh.
There you go.
I'm not a good enough Catholic to know exactly what that means. I mean, I know who the Madonna is, but I don't know what St. Mary Major is. I like how it says Pope Francis was buried there on April 26th.
That's tomorrow.
Yeah. So we've already traveled in time.
One thing is kind of nice, the planning of it, because for all those hardline Italians out on the West Coast, they can get drunk because it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
If they want.
Sure.
Sure, absolutely.
Who's doing that?
No, well, your husband is Spanish, isn't he?
Yeah.
So is he Catholic?
Like literally Spanish?
Yeah.
Yeah, his family's from Mexico and Guatemala.
Yep,
He's
there
Basque.
you go.
Yep.
So when he's on in the next half hour, I can talk to him about growing up a nice Catholic boy. Like me.
He's one of 7.
One of 7 I am as well.
So so are both of my parents.
And he
kind of. My mom is one of 5, right?
One of 5, yep.
5. Yeah, my mom's one of 6.
Yep.
God.
That was very,
lots of cousins.
Not that long ago.
Unbelievable.
Family parties were always fun.
Yeah.
I remember a pope died when I was a little kid. That I can't remember which pope it was, but I was going to St. Joseph's Church, I believe. St. Joseph's School, I mean. And that was a big, tearful day at St. Joe's. I'll tell you, all the nuns and the priests and the kids were all crying. And I remember it was very, very emotional. I didn't get all emotional about it, but I watched other people get very emotional. But would that have been Pope Pius XII? Did he die in like 1956 or 57, something like that?
Let's see.
58 maybe.
50s. That would have been Pius XII.
When did he die?
58.
Yeah, so there you go. That was him. It was a Pope. Look at that memory. Pope Pius XII. I thought it might be 57, but it was 58.
And my go-to is like Pope John Paul II. That's all I got.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Matters.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm telling you, that was a big time Catholic school. Like the one thing I love about Catholicism is they got rid of that fish on Friday thing, that you can't eat meat on Fridays. Like
some families still abide by that, though.
They do.
You hear that, especially during Lent, for sure.
During Lent, yeah, but some families do it all year round.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, do they?
It's because Jesus is traditionally thought to have been crucified on a Friday.
On a Friday, yes.
So the idea is like you're giving something up for Friday.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a bad idea.
It's kind of a little weird. Like, I understand, my Lord, that you were nailed to a cross and starved to death. So I'm going to give up bacon for one day. It's pretty much the same thing, right?
Yeah, well, bacon, that'd be good. No, nothing wrong with that. Nothing. What was the old joke about, hey, Jesus, can you see my house from up there? There was a joke about that when Jesus was hanged on the
explanatory.
It kind of is, yes. Jesus, can you see my house from up there? It's like, that's really nice. Very sweet and gentle, huh? Well, Eddie, you were baptized Catholic. You've never been much of a Catholic, but you were baptized Catholic. You and Alex both were. So
I was baptized Catholic.
Yeah, me too.
Confirmed. All the good stuff.
Yeah.
All the good stuff.
I did baptism and confirmation on the same day.
You did? Our church, you had to be, it was baptism, and then first communion was like 2nd grade, and then they did not confirm you until you were 16.
No, I remember getting baptized when I was probably 14, 15, something like that.
See?
Yeah.
Oh, you were baptized later then. You weren't baptized as
much
a baby.
later. Yes. Yeah. I got baptized as a teenager.
Yeah, you did. And you hated being
And then you did your confirmation on the same day. Would that make sense?
Yep.
To me, yeah.
Yep. All right, we'll take a quick break. Be right back in a couple of minutes. We're on schedule. I think Catherine is back. So Bill and Catherine together we filled up a couple of slots, I'm hoping.
Look at that. Things are looking up.
Everything is fine.
It's happened the first time in my career this has happened, that 3 people canceled at the last minute.
I know, but we got all your spots filled.
Thank God. We will be right back in a couple of minutes right after this. From Bradshaw and Bryant, Michael Bryant. What's up, Allie?
Oh, not much. Doing my usual thing of telling people they shouldn't be texting and driving. In Minnesota, you can't have your phone in your hands. You can use, hands-free, but you can't have your phone in your hands for whatever reason. And that's why they made the law the way they did, so that police officers could see a phone in your hand and you got no excuse for why you got it there.
Do people know that that's the law?
I hope so. I mean, they used to follow it, and then kind of COVID kind of made people forget. And now it's like a freewheeling world out there with cell phones.
Let's say you get pulled over because you do have a phone in your hand and you're not watching where you're going. You got to be in pretty big trouble then, I would guess.
Well, the first one's not as bad. It's the multiple ones, the problem. And once people start stacking them up, then they have a big problem. And then what we're doing in car accidents is we've started bringing motions for punitive damages, because I'm trying to use the civil law any way we can to stop this, because it needs to stop.
Whenever I'd had any problems in my life, who was that I called again? It was like an MB, something like that.
Bradshaw and Bryant.
Let's take a second to talk about my bank. That would be, of course, North American Banking Company with Bilski. As a business owner, you're always looking for opportunities to grow, and that's where North American Banking Company can help. Their business banking team offers tailored solutions, whether you're expanding your team, opening a new location, or upgrading equipment, because they're locally owned. Loan decisions are made right here in the Twin Cities, which means faster approvals and more flexibility to meet your needs. If you're ready to take your business to the next level, why not bank with my friends at North American Banking Company? Visit nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Ladies and gentlemen, Kristyn Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. So what's the latest? Oops, we can't hear.
You're muted.
What else are you watching?
There you go. What are we watching? I was trying to think of something we've been watching. Catherine and I have been watching a lot of Full Swing. Catherine is a good golfer, She's a very good golfer.
Yeah, we've talked about how she beats you quite a bit.
Every time. Not
every
all of it.
time.
Not quite a bit. All the time. She's a much better golfer than
Full
I am.
Swing's a great show.
I think it is too. I think it's very interesting. Really
so interesting, and I cannot wait. We're probably gonna have to wait about a year now for season 4, because season 3 just came out. But,
right.
Season 4 is going to have that fabulous Rory McIlroy win at the Masters. The cameras were there.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's going to be good. And, all the drama behind the scenes too, because they cover so much of the personal lives of the golfers. I mean, Rory McIlroy had literally all the drama leading up to the Masters, both on the golf course and off.
No, don't tell me, because they were picking the Ryder Cup team and they haven't told us with the last episode that we watched if a certain person made the team or not. You can
Google it because it already happened.
I know. I don't want to Google it though. I want to watch it on television. I want to watch them tell me what happened. So don't.
So you're still in season 1, I'm guessing.
No, it's season 2. I think.
Season 2. Okay.
Yeah. So shut up, everybody, and don't tell me if he made the Ryder Cup team, because I hope he does. What is it?
No, Netflix has done great with all of those sports documentaries. They've done, of course, the F1 was the real one that kind of like set the pace for all of them. And then they're doing a new one for the Kentucky Derby. They're going to be going back behind the scenes of horse racing. So that's another one that's going to be coming out on Netflix within the next year. But they've done it for cheerleading. They've done it even for DCC, Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. That one is super fascinating, because you're like, why are these women who have trained all their lives to dance making pennies on the dollar compared to the athletes? Now, I'm not saying they should get paid $1 million, but they should have a full-time salary with benefits.
Yeah.
And instead they're making like $10 an hour for rehearsals.
I understand, no question about it. But yeah, that show is very, very good. Catherine, like I said, loves it, and I do too. We watch it, and then we watched an old episode of Doc Martin, which is still, I think, one of the best.
You love that show.
It's the best TV show to ever come out of. What is it? Out of England, it's out of England. Mm-hmm. It's a terrific show. I just love his attitude. Shut up. Everybody has to shut up.
You love your British shows like that. If I have a good British show to recommend, I'm always like, that's a Tom show.
Oh, really? I wonder why that is. Part of my family's from England, I suppose, Germany and England, and that was a big one. Barnard is a Scottish name, so I don't know what that means.
You like a good British mystery show.
I do. Yes, absolutely. Yes. I do.
Yeah, Acorn's got a lot of good ones. So
they do indeed, no question about it. I was trying to think of what else. What have you been watching?
I watched Étoile, which I think would be a show that Alex would be into because it's about a ballet company in New York and one in Paris, and they swap superstars, kind of like you would do an NFL type of draft, you know, getting the best dancers. And it's done by the same couple, the Palladinos, who did Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which was outstanding television, Gilmore Girls, Bunheads. This one, I would say, I don't recommend it. I'm not going to lie. And normally, yeah, I watched all 8 episodes. I did the press junket and interviewed some of the stars. And you know, when you're just a fan of someone's work, you're like, I love the way the Palladinos write. I love their shows. I think they're quirky and they're smart. This one, I felt like they were tripping over themselves to make it clever. And instead, it was a lot of unlikable characters. It took about 4 episodes to really establish what the story was. And I knew I had to go through this whole season in order to do the interviews anyway. So I couldn't just drop it at 4 and go, I'll come back. And the last 4 episodes are good because they finally got a rhythm, but it's disappointing when you've loved someone's work for over 2 decades and you go, this wasn't their finest.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But what do you watch, Andy? You watch much television?
Almost none.
That's what I thought. You're not a big TV watcher.
Last year we went down to Florida in January, I think, right?
Yeah. Yep.
We started watching House. 3 months later, we finished House and we started watching Scrubs. We are still not done with Scrubs.
Scrubs is like, what, 9 seasons?
It is like 9 seasons, but it's been a year. I don't think we've watched any TV whatsoever in probably a solid 2-3 months.
You know what's crazy, Andy, is that Scrubs is being rebooted. So by the time
Scrubs,
the new show will be back.
Scrubs reboot, huh? Like with the same people, or?
I believe so. Yeah, they're looking at it. It's in pre-production, I believe.
Yeah, Zach Braff, yeah, they're gonna have at least most of them. Wow.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, by the time you finish 9 seasons in 2 years, we'll have a reboot for you.
Oh, so it's gonna be like a Frasier thing. Apparently, it's gonna explore the lives of the characters years after Sacred Heart, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and Frasier got canceled. So, and they were looking for a new home, and they did not find a new network to pick it up.
Really?
I'm going to guess Kelsey Grammer is very expensive. And he's not going to get out of bed for, less than X amount of dollars a day. So that was a no-go. And they're bringing back Clueless. They're making Clueless into a TV show like 30 years later. Oh, yeah. Hollywood right now, just due to the state of the economy and everything else, they don't want to take a lot of risks. And unfortunately, we're going to see a lot of reboots. And that's kind of the state of the nation right now.
No, was Frasier the one? Did he have another TV show going on at the same time as Frasier?
It was Cheers into Frasier.
But so the Frasier thing, he's back at college or something? He was a college.
He was a talk show host on Frasier.
That's what I thought.
The reboot, didn't he go back to his college?
He went back to his college.
Yeah, because he was out of Seattle.
Right. He went back to his college in Boston to teach or something like that.
Yes. Yeah. And it was terrible.
Yeah, I heard it just wasn't.
It was not good
at all.
They got 2 seasons out of it, and then that was that. And but I think like not all the characters were there that really made
almost none of them. In fact, except Frasier, right?
Yeah, you need what made Frasier so good was the cat. It was a great ensemble cast, and if you don't have that, what's the point?
No, you're absolutely right. I just, like I said, Catherine and I sit down every night and watch a couple things. I never thought I'd be watching a golf show with her full swing, but we both loved that show. But, we have our stories. As my mother used to say, Tom, be quiet. I'm watching my stories.
Your stories.
That's what she called television, her stories.
All right, quick. While we're still on the topic of Frasier, I want to show you something. And I want you to tell me what's strange about it.
All right. That's not the same person.
Everybody has hair.
No. Their faces are swapped.
They're swapped? Really?
You could never tell unless someone told you.
Oh, God, no. I have not.
They look alike.
That's how good the casting was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who is the other? So it's
David Hyde Pierce is on the right.
David Hyde Pierce. So there you go.
Yep. Okay. David Hyde Pierce is Niles.
David Hyde Pierce was fantastic. And that's the thing. I think the character of Frasier is not that likable just by himself. So
That's
he's not.
He's
And
annoying.
Niles was a great foil off of Frasier, but then you had the cast. You had like Roz, and you had Daphne with their father. You know, all of them were the real like soft, lovable characters, making them more likable. And without them, it just doesn't have that same element.
Right. No, absolutely. No question. Now it's going to bother me all day, Andy. Thanks.
What?
Showing me that picture. I would have never, ever known.
They look like brothers.
They
so
look,
good.
I know.
They look identical, I suppose, in a way.
Yeah, David Hyde Pierce. Both of them are actually very strong Broadway actors, too. Both Kelsey Grammer and David Hyde Pierce. Both have done extremely well in New York City.
No question about it. Now, you only got a couple more minutes, so are you going to watch any of the funeral?
I will look at highlights. I'm not going to sit on my couch and watch
highlights of a funeral.
Highlights. Well, you just like what do I need to know, that kind of thing. But tomorrow morning, I will be out in the field. I am hosting an antique car show and doing interviews. Yeah.
Where is that?
Out in Seal Beach. So Seal Beach, California. If the weather cooperates, it's supposed to rain tomorrow and be in the 50s. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I used to host the show was called the Vintage Vehicle Show. And I was the California correspondent, and it aired on PAX, which is no longer a network. But we're doing like one little reunion special. So I'm going back to my roots. I'm really excited.
But that's good, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. And my director, who I have not seen in a decade, is going to be directing me tomorrow. So I'm happy.
God, I was going back to my roots. My roots would have been where I am now. I started my radio career at KSTP, at 1500 KSTP AM, and I'm back with Hubbard now.
Have that. You're full circle.
Start there and end there. That'll be perfect. Right?
You are full circle. That's good.
Full circle, Tom. That's all they have to say to me. What do you got planned for the weekend? What are you going to do this weekend?
Well, besides work, I'm actually working all weekend, to be honest. And then on Sunday, I am doing interviews for a friend of mine's doing a dance documentary. So I'm going to help her do all the interviews of the dancers and everything.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, it's a working weekend, unfortunately, but it'll be a good one. It'll be fun.
Well, we're going to talk to the guy who does all the work at your house. You know, you talk about it's working, but let's be honest. Joe does all the work. That's all.
Bill does all the work. Sure. He does the blue jobs, like taking out the garbage and taking out the garbage.
And the recycling.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I usually leave the dishes to him. I don't like to wash dishes.
Dishes are gross.
We have a dishwasher.
Yeah, all I got to do is rinse them off and put them in the dishwasher. It's not that hard.
I do, but there's a couple of them that can't go in the dishwasher. I don't like to do those. Well, I will wash them. Let me correct that. I will wash them, but I'll leave them in the drying rack for like a week, so he'll put them away.
Yeah, it works. So Bill is going to do the show. I'm going to try to get Catherine to try, although I can't go get her because I got to do 2 live spots. But
Bill is all set and ready to go.
Bill's good to go. Okay.
He's your guy. He is your guy.
Well, if he married you, that's probably true.
Yes.
I can see that. All right, we'll talk to you on Monday, though.
I will see you on Monday for sure.
Thanks very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Kristyn Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety of wondering if you've saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk, never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608. Set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold, investment consultant, LLC security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. I am a paid endorser.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain, and chip issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, well, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? You know, inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts, many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
South Dakota is one of the most business-friendly states in the country, and there's no better place to settle down and take advantage of those incentives than in Sioux Falls. As the state's largest city with a metro population over 290,000, Sioux Falls has low business costs with a high quality of life. There's no state, corporate, or personal income tax, no inheritance tax, and no limits to what your business can achieve. Sioux Falls, South Dakota, was recently ranked the #1 best small city for business and careers by Forbes, the #2 best state business tax climate by the Tax Foundation, and the #5 top state for e-commerce by Nexus. As one of the Midwest's fastest growing cities, Sioux Falls has a robust growing job market. No matter where you are in your career, we have an opportunity waiting for you. Our city's tax-friendly climate and strong workforce don't go unrecognized. Forbes named Sioux Falls one of the top cities for business careers, as a matter of fact, each of the last 15 years. In 2020, Sioux Falls also ranked as the #4 best city for young professionals. How does South Dakota stack up against other states? We rank second in the nation for the lowest cost of doing business, the most business-friendly state, and the best business tax climate. And as South Dakota's biggest city, Sioux Falls is at the center of these benefits. Now is the perfect time to make your move to Sioux Falls. Visit SiouxFallsDevelopment.com. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, and joining us. This is going to be interesting because Catherine showed up on time and everything. I didn't think you might.
Please,
yes,
thank
dear,
you.
Get your mic. But Bill is the real superstar guest because while I put up with Catherine, he has to put up with Kristyn. So we have the same exact life going.
I have a feeling she's pretty easy to put up with.
Oh, yeah. Yes, she is. And yes, we do have the exact same life. She does quite smart, knows it all. And
knows it all. I like that. Knows it all. That's a nice way to put it, Bill. Really nice way. Okay, so we got to find out.
She's in the know. She knows all of what's going on in Hollywood and all the current things. And you know, if I miss stuff, if I'm not listening on the news, what happened today?
Now, where did you meet?
We actually met twice. We met in San Diego way back in 2006. And we were both doing a job there. And a mutual friend of mine, a guy I did a show with, introduced us. And I said, hey, yeah, we got each other's number and stuff like that. And then we didn't call. We were too busy with our lives. And then we met up about 6 years later. And I was doing I Love Lucy live on stage. And she knew one of the other cast members. And
okay.
She knew me. And then, it's like, this person, she texted her friend, our mutual friend, said, hey, this was that guy, huh? And she goes, yeah, you should meet him. So we met up afterwards and we stayed in touch. And here we are.
And here we are today, ladies and
all
gentlemen.
married and everything.
Right.
You're frozen
I
up
know
again,
I'm frozen.
Catherine.
Oh my God.
Her computer freezes up every show now.
It didn't do that till it did the update. All right. I'll still talk.
Update.
I'll just get off of here and try to do the whole thing again.
No, it'll all work out in the end. Would you mind talking a bit about the Lucy show?
Sure, yeah.
Because I got to be honest with you. I'm of the age, that show is probably still my favorite show in television history. I loved that show. And it kind of showed, the women and men weren't just all, it's all lovey-dovey. Yes, they loved one another, but there was some conflict there as well. And I don't know who chose William Frawley, but he was phenomenal on that show. My favorite line in the history of that show is when Ethel said, before I met my husband, all the boys were buzzing around me like bees. And he replied, how come I'm the one that got stung? Now that, for a little kid watching TV, I laughed for about a month at that one.
He was crabby.
Yes, he was crabby. There's no
To me, more like you've been laughing for about 60 years.
Yes, I've been
Oh.
laughing for 60 years. You're
Don't
absolutely
bring
right.
up his age.
I was talking about the age of the show. Not
sorry.
She comes on and look
I
what
got all
happens.
wrong.
Oh
When
yeah,
was I
that
Love
joke
Lucy?
is funny.
Wasn't it?
I-
Yeah, it was 64 years it started.
Are you kidding?
64 years ago.
Actually, 74.
Yeah,
74
74.
years.
So it started in 1951.
Yep.
That show. That's where it
Yeah,
74
started.
3 years
years.
before I was born.
Like,
Yeah,
No.
I think
in
it started-
October, I believe.
I mean, Andy and Alex, I mean, you were pretty
Yeah, we
young
watched
for
as kids.
you loved I Love Lucy. You had a portrait of Lucy in your room.
Yes, he did.
Well, I
He
told
did.
you the story about Ethan finding our box set, right?
No.
No.
Oh, yeah. Ethan, he was just digging around in the closet, taking stuff as he does. Bill, I don't know if you know, but Ethan is my 3-year-old son.
Yes, I've heard the show. So
I've heard
He has
the
come
show.
up now and again.
great.
So he found our box set of I Love Lucy. We have the whole collection.
Wonderful.
And he was like, Daddy, what are these? And I'm like, those are DVDs. You need a DVD player to play those. And eventually it came out that we have a DVD player, which he found and plugged in. One of the DVDs
All
in.
right.
But he
3 years
didn't
old.
know how to use the
Yeah,
HDMI
that's
cable
how-
and everything.
Oh,
He just
yeah.
plugged it into a wall and put the DVD in and wondered why it wasn't working.
Oh.
So I was like, okay, let's just plug this into the TV so you can see. And it's like,
Right.
it's live action. It's black and white. It's very old. You're going to think it's horrible. And I was just like, I'll prove to you that you won't like it. So we watched an episode. We watched the lost pilot that they found. And he thought it was super funny. So we were like, okay.
Well, see.
Well, if
How
you're
many
going to like it,
generations?
then let's just put on the Candy Factory episode. It's
Oh, that's the best.
Oh,
That's
probably
the
the
most
#1 rated episode by
Yeah.
most people ever.
for sure.
And after it was done, he turns to me and he goes, "That was fun." So there you go. And
There you
another
go.
generation into I Love Lucy.
It's
40
great.
years
That is
It
great.
keeps on going. It's a good gift because it's
Mhm.
physical comedy. It's
Mhm.
there. It's taken from, you got combination from the radio show and from a lot of
Right.
stage stuff
Mhm.
because they really did it. And that's why they did it in front of a live audience so so Lucy can play off of that energy.
Yep.
No
And that was the
question.
reason.
And I love the fact that there are 4 different angles on everything on that show because there's one from Lucy, one from Desi, one from William Frawley, one from his wife. I mean, they basically agree on very little.
Mhm.
But it just watching as a little boy, 4 or 5 years old. It started just I think 2 months before I was born, actually, in October of 51, and I was 1 month before I was born because I was born November 7th, 1951. So
Wow.
October
it
5th,
has
A few weeks
Yeah.
before you were
Yeah.
born, actually.
3 weeks before you were born.
Yeah.
I mean, honest to God, Lucy, the I Love Lucy show and the Lucy show and all the rest of it has been part of my life my entire life. It's one of the first things I can remember watching. I get same situation as Ethan, Andy's son. My mother told me I started laughing at I Love Lucy when I was like 3 years old. I just loved the show. Now, was it I mean, I don't think it was luck that you got the role because you worked hard to get it and all the rest of it. But were you just flabbergasted when you said, I get to play Desi Arnaz? That's terrific.
Yeah, it was pretty funny because like yourselves, I grew up watching the show, and for me, it was a little frustrating because Lucy would always get into these situations. I was like, "Oh no, I can't watch! I can't watch! Oh,
Exactly.
No, Lucy,
why
don't.
can't it go and have the happy ending? Why can't she be the movie star?" She never
Well.
succeeds, but that's the point.
There's so
But
many
then when I
different
finally
angles.
got it, and it's funny, when I was young, my dad had that Ricky Ricardo hairstyle.
Oh,
He had the
sure.
pompadour and stuff.
Did
I was
he?
like,
Absolutely.
oh yeah, remind me of my dad.
That's
And
great.
so when the show came out, I mean, I was in a class before, and we were studying sitcom and classic sitcom. I'll go ho. That'd be a good show to really just sink my teeth through and really get into classic sitcom style. So I auditioned for it, and it was fun. I got called back, and it was an interesting callback where they had a lot of us together and they paired us up because they didn't know what was going on. So we can do it. And then once I started doing it, it was just so much fun. And then when I got it, it was like, oh, great, I got it. oh wow, I got it. Now the responsibility.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm guessing
that happened a few times in my career. It was like, yeah, oh wow, I got a lot of responsibility. Here we go.
So you have to sing, I'm guessing.
Yes, I did have to sing and I had to, do the accent and all that sort of thing. And though they didn't want us to be mimics per se of them, but to really kind of, and that was kind of the balance of it, to really make it alive and do it. Well, where's the, what does it mean for us today? But we can still give the fans something they can recognize.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So we still made it and put it in our forms and who we are, but the casting of it was excellent, and everybody fit their roles very well. And that show was the concept was the audience was coming into a studio audience in 1951, and they were watching 2 shows of it, and complete with live commercials, song and dance, band, and all this sort of stuff. It was a lot of fun. It was a really good show. So we did that. And it was the first time it was done. We got the permission and the scripts from CBS to do those shows. And so we did them and we combined some things. We put in more songs in it to make it more entertaining. So Ricky I got to do Babalu in this show, in this episode. It wasn't done in other ones, but fans want to see it. So there we go. Yep. And I'll tell you, like when we did like Circus Some Center down here, when we went on tour with it, 3,000 people. It was like I was a rock star when we did that. It was amazing.
When you went on tour, where did you go? Because I can see that playing really well in this area.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's see. I think, did we go to Minnesota?
West Palm Beach. No, West Palm Beach. I'm talking about.
Oh, West Palm, Minnesota. No.
Well, actually, Minnesota would probably be big too.
Yeah. Yep.
I was with another production. This also, it was a gift that keeps on giving. I was in a production with LA Theater Works where we did a story called Lucy Loves Desi. A funny thing happened on the way to the sitcom, which was about the making of I Love Lucy and the behind the scenes and how Desi really learned to become a producer out of that show and how Jess Oppenheimer and all their relationships came into play. And we did play in the villages over there in Florida.
Oh, so up north. Okay.
Oh, north. I bet you that was a hit up there, man.
Oh yeah, they enjoyed it. Yeah, that was. I think Kristyn may have told you about the what was special about the villages and the different colored loofahs that they had there.
I've read different stories. I've read that it's true, and I've read it's not true. I don't know which one it is. I don't know.
We saw a loofah and we go, "Oh my God, there was one."
But a lot of drinking, from what I understand.
Yes. No, they're very friendly people, and they're very, a lot of fun and stuff.
We get so many wonderful memories from doing interviews like this, because the whole time you're talking, I think of I was at the Basilica in downtown Minneapolis for the first half of my first grade year. And then the second half was at St. Joseph's in North Minneapolis. And we came after Christmas. We moved just before Christmas, and I started right after Christmas. And unfortunately, there was a young girl whose name was Lucille.
Oh.
I mean, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Lucy. Oh my God.
So there was the Lucy show. That was the first one. Then wasn't there Desi and Lucy show? Was that the same thing?
There's a Lucy and Desi comedy hour. So they switched.
Okay.
They just extended the I Love Lucy, and this is when they moved out into the country and all that. And so they extended.
Okay, and then they got divorced, right?
Right.
And then she had her own show with Ethel for a while. What was that called?
What was that? Was that Here's Lucy?
Here's Lucy.
Here's
Lucy.
Lucy.
Same name. It's like makes it a little difficult to remember what everything was.
Yeah, because it was all about Lucy.
Yeah, because apparently their marriage was pretty much a disaster most of the time.
Right. There was they had some issues, and shortly after the show ended, I think that's when they got their divorce as well. And then Lucy got to be studio head for that. I think in that exchange, and she's the one who said yes to Star Trek and Mission Impossible.
Really?
Oh, I didn't know all
she's
that.
The studio head that did that.
Oh my God, I never knew that. Could you talk a bit more about that? I had no idea she was the one who did that.
She was the head of Desilu at the time, and throughout the 60s. Yeah. And
so those were the shows.
So it was because of her that she championed the Star Trek pilot, and then when that they didn't want that pilot. She helped them to get that second pilot on with William Shatner and all that, and that started that whole run. And she was the one that all those shows, The Untouchables, they're responsible for that. They're untouchable for
okay, I have a question for you.
Huge
Before we
shows.
move on, why can't you get The Untouchables on that? You can't find it you can buy it on DVD, but it's not on any channel anywhere.
That's
not on
strange.
Paramount Plus. I know
No.
that. I imagine they would have it too.
You would think so, but you cannot find. You can find the other movie that was made in 86 or something.
Right, right. The Sean Connery one.
The Sean Connery one. Yeah, but I would love to sit and watch The Untouchables from the beginning. So I did get the DVDs, but I don't think we have a DVD player. I didn't even think about that when I bought it.
Oh, we do somewhere.
We
I
do
think,
somewhere?
maybe up north. I don't know if we have one down here.
But a magnificent show. That show was terrific. And
Yeah.
that was Lucy's idea, huh?
Well, they approved it. So that
she
and I
approved it,
believe
yeah.
that was in what was that, late 50s, early 60s when that happened?
Yeah, that's about
There's
right.
a Blu-ray
Right.
player right here, dear.
There's a Blu-ray player
Oh,
in here.
yep, you got one.
You got one.
I can watch The Untouchables.
That's what
right.
that black box has been all these
I
years.
know.
What do you know?
I know. Do you guys have like a bunch of DVDs that you just save? Other ones you have to like toss out and
Yep.
do that?
Well, we
Yeah.
moved, and so no, we got rid of tons and tons of them because
Yeah.
they take up so much space.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Well,
So
they
the TV shows with Lucy in the title. So it started with I Love Lucy, Lucy Desi Comedy Hour. Then there was the Lucy Show. Then there was Lucy in London.
Lucy in London.
Remember that
Yes, Lucy Show was the one that she did with Vivian Vance, by the way.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Then there was Here's Lucy.
Here's Lucy. Yep.
And then after that, looks like it wasn't anything until Life with Lucy in 1986.
Life with Lucy in '86.
And
Yeah,
that was
not
with her
too long.
kids. She did
It
that with her
was-
kids.
Oh, I never saw
They
any
shot
of those.
18 episodes and only ever aired 13 of them. So
Oh, really? Not a
yeah.
hit.
not great.
Isn't that amazing how you can go from such superstardom? And she basically drove everyone to watch television. I mean, her show and a couple others drove everyone to watch television in the very beginning. And then she gets to her fourth or fifth, edition of it. And all of a sudden, nobody wants to watch it. How does that happen?
Well, I think those days she had a pretty bad relationship, I think, with her kids because of her alcoholism.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I remember watching a show. What's her daughter's name?
Lucy. Lucy Arnold.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and she
Well,
was
there you
talking about
have
how
it.
her mom was either really, really on and great mom, or really, really off and
Yeah.
unapproachable. And I'm
Yeah.
sure she's a very complicated human being, I'm guessing.
Sure. And I think that last show was for them to be together as a family, really. So I think they're, Lucy was involved and Desi Jr. was involved and all that. And part of that is the fun of working and there. But you can also see, she was such a dedicated worker that, when she was really on. And it was really about, having the family together for that. I mean, and part of that was one of the shows that I did that it was a focus on their family. She wanted the show to be in LA to keep their marriage together when Desi and Lucy were married. And then later, all the stuff for the kids to keep them going too. So
What did Desi do after the show?
he did some producing and he did some acting here and there and stuff. And then he married again, and then he was retired. He made a couple of appearances. I think he was like he might have been on one of the first episodes of Saturday Night Live too. I remember.
Really?
Yeah.
God. Amazing.
Because you would have thought he would have had some big career as a, leading man in some movies
Sure.
or something. He was a handsome guy, I think. I don't know. Could he act? I mean, really? I don't know.
Yeah, he was good. He did some stuff. He did some things.
Did
and
he?
There was some things he did in the 60s or was dramatic, and he did it. He did like and he did it well, but just the way that careers go, he didn't
Right.
pursue it that way, or audiences were receiving him that way, however that worked. But he went on
Sometimes,
his way.
yeah, sometimes you get one of those roles and that just defines you, and
Yep.
nobody wants to see you do anything else, I think.
Get typecast.
Well,
That
that's too
is
bad.
true. That was true earlier back then, but I think more people nowadays have gotten past that. I remember, speaking of William Shatner, he was Captain Kirk all this time. He's always Captain Kirk. You see him as TJ Hooker. Oh, it's Captain Kirk being a cop. Okay, but then he became TJ Hooker, and then he's doing other things that were, that where my dad says a swear word and all that sort of stuff. So he's kind of built upon that, his reputation as an actor and all that.
Yeah, like a lot of comedians had to go really dark, in a role to get away from I'm always the funny guy.
Yeah, Jim Carrey did that number 23 or whatever. Yeah, Robin Williams did 1 Hour Photo.
Yeah,
right.
That was a thing.
Had to get away from
Yep, I got to do the exact opposite of what I've been doing, so people will know that I've got full range, and it
makes sense.
Go well is the thing.
Yeah,
right. It's good. I mean, Robin Williams, he did Dead Poet Society too, and but that had some good comic stuff.
Yeah, he was still like wacky in that.
Yeah,
wacky.
And Good Will Hunting, where he got that his Oscar.
Yeah.
We'll take a quick break, come back. Now I want to talk about Bill. Not just about Desi Arnaz and all the rest of it, how it started, how all this happened. We'll be right back. If you don't mind.
Sure, I love it.
How you developed your career and all the rest of it. Okay. Let's take a second to talk about my bank. That'd be North American Banking Company. As a business owner, you're always looking for opportunities to grow, and that's where North American Banking Company can help. Their business banking team offers tailored solutions, whether you're expanding your team, opening a new location, or upgrading equipment, because they're located, they're locally owned. You know that. Loan decisions are made right here in the Twin Cities, which means faster approval and more flexibility to meet your needs. If you're ready to take your business to the next level, why not bank with my friends at North American Banking Company? Visit nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety for wondering if you've saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk. Never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608. Set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments must involve risk. You know that. All comments and opinions of Josh Arnold do not constitute investment advice. I am a paid endorser. Maybe you could reconsider all the love you missed since I've been gone. Ladies and gentlemen, this part of the show brought to you by Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation at 952-925-5608. Bill, our special guest, we talked all about I Love Lucy. We talked all about Desi Arnaz and William Frawley and everybody. I want to talk about you now. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in San Francisco.
Oh, you did? Oh, that's not all bad.
Yeah, it's a great town. Great place to grow up, I think.
It is a great town.
Very diverse. And, of course, I didn't appreciate it until I left. And then I came back. It's like, oh.
One of my favorite memories of San Francisco, Kath and I used to go out there all the time. But we started, when I was doing the KQ morning show, we went out to see the Twins play the Oakland A's. And they're not even around anymore. But we stayed at the Fairmont. Right downtown.
Yes, beautiful.
Wonderful town. But I will never forget, we're pushing Andy down the street. Andy was a newborn.
In a little stroller.
We're pushing him down the street. And this couple goes by. There's an older guy driving and a young man with his head on the older guy's shoulder. And he looks over and sees Catherine, Andy, and me and goes, ugh, effing breeders. I'll never forget that. I just started laughing. I was
like, how do you think you got here, pal?
How'd you get here, Pally?
Yeah.
I will never forget that.
Little judgy.
The other thing we got to point out is in the second trip out there, we go to, what's the name of the Fallon Isle, I think is the name of the restaurant.
In the islands?
No.
Yeah, it's named after
yeah.
It's a restaurant named after the islands.
Oh, the Farallon?
Yeah, is
maybe
it Farallon?
That's it.
It might be Farallon. Yes, you might be right. Really good.
It had a weird emblem, and it had a weird
stuff
Just
hanging
everything
down.
just looked. Yeah, you couldn't tell what the word was. I remember on their
Yeah,
sign.
that's true. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll never forget the server comes over and we're sitting there. Alex is I think 16.
I don't think she was even 16.
She was maybe 15. Andy was 17.
Yeah, I was probably around that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the jellyfish light place. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, the
Yeah, yeah.
jellyfish lights. That's exactly right.
Whatever restaurant that is, it's really good.
The server comes over and says, okay, I have to do my duty here, looking around the table. Everybody here is over 21. Okay, good. And starts pouring everybody some wine. We had a 15-year-old, a 17-year-old.
We're like, you could tell you're in California, pushing that wine.
They are authentic French.
Very authentic French.
Yeah.
It sounds like fleur de lis or something like that with a big.
It was.
I don't know what it was.
What a great experience that was. We loved. We went. How many times did we go to San Francisco? About 6, 7 in a row.
I don't know.
Like,
It
we
was that
loved
many,
it.
but yeah.
We absolutely loved that time.
What was the thing? The coldest winter I ever spent was a summer in San Francisco.
Yeah, that
Mark
old deal.
Twain.
Yeah,
right?
Mark Twain.
Mark Twain. That's right.
That's
So
right.
you grew up in San Francisco and
grew up in there. Yeah,
and you
actually,
left
in the Fairmont Hotel was actually I got my first job there.
Really?
Well, maybe you were there when we were there.
Might have been at the retail store.
20-ish years ago.
What's that?
20-ish years ago.
Maybe something like that.
Just maybe. It's a possibility.
Possibility when no longer than that. I think.
No, it was wonderful. The whole experience, just hanging out in that city. It's very, very crowded now, from what I understand. We haven't been there in a few years, but I guess it's very, very crowded now. You find that to be true?
Yeah, when I go up there, I don't do much tourist stuff there, unless there's friends visiting town. But or me and Kristyn go and we want to spend some time in downtown and all that.
Yeah,
it's pretty crowded, but like most cities here, and new buildings are going up, so the skyline looks different from when I grew up.
Yeah,
and but I usually go and there's a lot of family things going on. I have a big family, as you know, and it's really still a fun town and a lot of great places to eat.
Yeah. Oh God, yes, a lot of great restaurants.
Yeah.
There's no getting around, and you could walk around, just have this wonderful time. I mean, it's been all those years, 22 years ago, whatever it was. But we've been back.
We haven't been back in a long time.
It's been a long time, but one of the problems we have, Bill, in Minneapolis, St. Paul, is it's pretty scary to go downtown Minneapolis now at night, which is, I never thought I'd see that coming, but yeah, downtown Minneapolis can get very dangerous.
Yeah. So it's not quite like Chicago or New York or those places where you can walk at night and you're expected to and stuff.
Yeah, it's a whole different environment. Unfortunately, it's like that, but what are you going to do? Okay, so you grew up in San Francisco, and did you leave to go to college or something?
Yeah, I stayed in college there. I had a scholarship to study in London for a bit, so I did that. And then
nice.
I started to work professionally while I was still in school. So I got some national tours and some theater and stuff that went around the country, and did some regional theater and all that. And then, from choice of going to New York or LA for what's going to be next for my career, I went to LA. I was going to go to New York, but of course I was with a girlfriend at the time, and we thought LA would be easier. And of course I moved down there and we break up. So
it's always how it goes.
That's always
there's a shock.
Yeah. But then I got a dog, and so then that.
Oh well.
Yes, and then I learned about love and learned about responsibility with a dog. So.
That's true.
Oh, look how sweet. Well, I'll see how lucky you were, though. You moved to Los Angeles, you break up, and now you and Kristyn. I mean,
that's right.
That's a home run right there.
Yes, absolutely.
All this led up to you being on our show. So,
You know what I love so much about Kristyn? We've worked, how many years we worked together? God, it's been a lot of years.
At least 10.
At least 10 years, probably more than that. But what I really love about Kristyn is she's very tolerant of a number of things, because I'll tease her once in a while. Yeah, tolerant of you. She brings that up. Tolerant of me. Maybe just tolerant of men, I guess, is the best way to put it. But you know how some people get so whipped up because I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I just I see both sides. Well, no, but I see both sides that do okay, and about some things, and other things they're both horrible. I mean, that's just how it goes. But she just goes, okay.
Let's talk about entertainment. She's very good at redirecting.
She is good at redirecting.
She should be a director.
Oh, what are you gonna do?
Yes. I'm just talking. Yeah, I'm here to bring joy. So that's what it
Yes,
is.
that's exactly right.
Yes.
So how did you end up acting?
Let's see. How did I end up acting? Well, I started it in high school. I got
Oh, you did? Okay.
I got extra credit in the play from my English class to audition for the play, and then I found out, I liked it. It was
You
pretty
got
cool.
the bug.
I got the bug. Well, it was a
Nice.
Shakespeare play, but then I'll tell the truth. So I auditioned for the play,
I'll tell
and yeah, I was playing football at the time, and I said, "Well, this is
great.
great." The director said, "Well, you could probably have a role in there." I said, "Yeah, it's great, but I think I'm going to play football." So I played football, and then broke my leg.
Oh, not good news.
Off of a stupid play. Somebody just stepped on my foot, and it went.
Oh,
But and then the next semester, I auditioned for the musical. I couldn't dance because I was still healing. And it's like, all right. Then the next time, I wanted to do the play.
You could have done a rendition of My Left Foot,
That's true.
There you go.
or possibly My Right Foot, depending on which one.
Depending on what it is,
What we're
exactly.
doing.
I can do, dance with a crutch. It'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So now then you end up in LA because if you're going to be, but did you do voiceover as well?
Yeah, I do.
I thought so. Yeah.
And I have done it and stuff. I've done some animated films. I've done some commercials. I've done audiobook and things like that. And I also narrate shows at the planetarium here at Griffith.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
One thing I love about that business is that I would have friends come back to town. Yeah, I went down to Kansas City to watch Kansas City Chief and a Dallas Cowboys game. And you talk constantly during the games because they do the stadium announcing and all that stuff. It's all recorded. I'm not there actually, but honest to God, they would complain about, I just had to sit and listen to you for like 3 hours. It was unbearable. It's like, thanks for your help. I really appreciate it. But that, that's an interesting thing because Catherine and I lived in New York and I was doing voiceover in New York and Chicago. And back then, it's not like today. If you're going to do a commercial, you had to go where that commercial was being recorded and shot.
yeah.
It's not like today. You can just sit in your living room and do it all you want. Not a problem. But that made for a very interesting life, though. Doing voiceover was wonderful, no doubt. There's not a whole lot of it left anymore, unfortunately.
But it's a lot of fun. Because you're there and you get to use your imagination and you're just there and you see what does the mic pick up as opposed to camera gets some of the subtleties and he's got a look in his eye. Mic can't pick that up.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
How is voiceover now? Is it all still union even in LA, or has it gotten more just not that way because of the pay?
There's still union stuff going on, a lot of union stuff going on, and some non-union stuff going on. So there's a lot, and it is, it is competitive because everybody's getting a mic and everybody's has access to do this at home.
Yeah.
And for audiobooks, people can submit and put their stuff up on Audible and those type of platforms, and so there's still possibilities, but it still feels like many times, there's a limited pool. Because with everywhere you go, you like the people you work with. Oh, these are the people we want to, people I want to do the scratch animation part with. And then we'll, and of course they cast stars in some of the lead roles. So you're in that game too.
Right.
And that used to be something that the stars didn't do because they were afraid of overexposure.
Yeah, they didn't want to do it back then.
But then all of a sudden they were paying them,
$1 million now. Oh, I guess it is worth it to do it now.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
No, that's very true. Well,
that's why you're seeing stars on TV, doing more TV shows.
Absolutely.
And commercials too.
A lot of commercials, no doubt about that. I was inspired. A very famous voiceover guy. You might not be old enough to remember him because he's died several years ago, but there's a guy from International Falls, Minnesota, which you talk about the middle of nowhere. That is on the Canadian border.
Their summer is 3 weeks long. That's how far up north it is.
But a guy named Don LaFontaine.
Oh, Don LaFontaine.
Did you ever work with Don?
I have not. No,
He was a legend. He was from Minnesota.
Yeah.
And I thought, my God, that guy's from International Falls and now he lives in LA. I'm going to try to do that. He inspired me to do it. I never got to meet him, unfortunately. I wanted to, no question, but it's a great business.
Well, back in those days, there were maybe 10 guys that were doing almost all the voiceover, it seemed like.
10 might be stretching it a little bit.
Yeah, it might not have been that high.
Yeah, it was.
But it was just a limited, you go to you guys, either Don LaFontaine. If he's not available, you go to your other person. You go to the other person.
Yeah.
If trailers, LaFontaine was like #1 pick for literally every trailer. So
Yeah.
he can only do so many trailers in a day. So yeah, there's going to be spillover. But I would bet in the 90s, he must have done 75% of all trailers. It's ridiculous how much he did.
What was the name of that trailer?
A driver to pick him up and bring him to the studios and all that.
Yeah.
And that's when they went to the studios, and all he had
They
to
did.
do is in a world where 2 + 2 = 7.
Yeah.
That's exactly. As a matter of fact, what's the name of it used to be a big time recording studio there. It was very, very narrow hallway with a bunch of
in LA?
In LA, yeah. What the hell was the name of that place? The reason I bring it up, it was, oh God, I don't even remember, but I do remember this. I'm cutting a commercial, and as I'm leaving, I walk out the door, and I look to my left, and Orson Welles, the very, very big Orson Welles, remember before he died, was leaving the studio, and his driver walked up behind him, and he could not turn around in the hallway. It was that narrow, and he was that big.
Orson.
And the guy says to him, Mr. Wells, I'm sorry, but they wanted me to park in the back lot. And he said, well, not anymore. He had to drive around the front to pick him up because he could not turn around in the hall. I will never forget that as long as I live.
Wow.
I mean, he had to weigh 500 pounds, honest to God. So that night we go to dinner, and there is Orson at the restaurant. He has got not a glass of, he's got a magnum of champagne sitting, and he's eating by himself.
Oh. The French champagne?
It was a French champagne.
Was it fermented in the bottle?
It was fermented in the bottle, no question about it. But yeah, I mean, so you're in Los Angeles now. How old were you at the time when you first moved to Los Angeles?
Oh, I was in my 20s.
Very exciting, I bet.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Of course, I didn't know anybody, so it was all starting from scratch, and let's just do this. And I decided to stay because I had my dog. And so then it was like, all right, we're going to make this work. And, I just kind of said yes to different things. I still continued to do theater and, did some, wonderful shows, got to do Hamlet a couple of times, got to do Lost Shakespeare and things like that. And then some films came about. There was a really interesting film called Soldier of God that I did. And it was, I didn't think I would get it. I had told my manager, hey, this seems like a fun film. It was a crusade film. I might be right for one of the, the lead was already cast. I might be right for one of the, one of the Crusaders and stuff like that. They called me in for the assassin who was of Islam descent. It was Islam faith, but of Assyrian descent. So I was like, me? Oh my God. Okay. And then I did it and worked on it, and that, and grew the beard and did all that. And this was a time when, people could be cast against their type a little bit. And I booked it. And then the guy, when the producer told me, I said, you sure? and then I felt it was a big responsibility, and I got it. It was a better role, but it was a really good film to cut my teeth on and learn and figure out what needed to be done. And I'm still proud of that film. People still see it and say, oh yeah, you were good. And no one recognized me in it. So that was kind of fun. You know how some films you could I can't watch myself. I can't do this. That one, I can watch myself because it doesn't seem like me.
Now I have a question because I've never asked her that. Has Kristyn ever done voiceover or acting?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's what I assumed she did, but I've never talked to her about that.
She's done some commercials. She's more like she comes from the host perspective, so she would do that and be herself and do things like that. She's I think she's done a Kia commercial or Toyota, and she's worked for Toyota doing those shows a lot, so she does that. But she's always doing content and creating stuff and bringing the cats in and making the cats work too.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I tell you what, this family adores her. We've been doing 10, 12 years. We've been working together.
13 almost.
13 almost.
She was on episode 14 or something like that.
Was she really?
That would have been late 2012.
But Andy's here, Catherine and I are here, but Alex is not here, and all four of us just adore Kristyn. She's wonderful to work with. Very tolerant, Because once in a while when I start the show, I'm not in the best mood, but she just lets it go. It's like, what? Oh, see, she doesn't let it go, but Kristyn lets it go. That kind of deal. I can take one more break. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up. Can you stay for one more short segment?
Yeah, let's do it. That's fun.
Magnificent. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes and wrap things up. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety for wondering if you saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk. Never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608. Set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments must involve risk. You know that. All comments and opinions of Josh Arnold do not constitute investment advice. I am a paid endorser. Here's the deal. You're listening to me. Your customers are listening to me, and they'll hear me promote your business. The Tom Bernard Podcast attracts thousands of listeners who are loyal, engaged, and ready to support businesses they trust. And yeah, I'm not going to do a commercial unless they can trust the business. I'm sorry. I'm just not doing it. Our podcast has helped numerous businesses increase traffic, sales, and brand recognition. But we're not just about ads. We're about results. Whether you're a local business or a national brand, we offer custom advertising packages designed to fit your unique needs and goals. Our audience spans multiple demographics, as a matter of fact, allowing you to target your ideal customers with precision, from millennials to baby boomers and everyone in between. So you need to increase your brand awareness. That's what it's all about. With my broad reach, well, the whole family's broad reach and passionate following, your business will see increased visibility and awareness, translating into more customers and sales. So you ready to get started? Visit tombernardshow.com, click on the partner tab, and let's discuss how we can work together to grow your business. I do love the fact that when I'm reading a commercial, you can always hear Jude snoring. Really appreciate that.
Yeah,
Jude.
we understand you having to stay in LA because of your dog. I wasn't on this morning because I had to go interview a dog sitter because we're going out of town for 5 nights.
Yeah.
And she was lovely, so it all worked out.
It did work out. That's good.
Yes.
I'm glad to hear
She's
that.
very nice.
That's a very nice family.
It is.
There's no question about it. So
yeah,
in
pets are amazing.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, and she had a parakeet in a cage on the floor. And Jude was a little interested in that.
Yeah.
I said, I'd put that parakeat up if I were you.
Yeah.
He is a bird dog.
He
is a bird dog. He will kill your bird.
Bill, you I've always been in radio or voiceover. That's what I've done my whole life since I was about 18 years old. You sit back once in a while and go, God, I'm glad I don't have to work.
No, I like working.
Acting is harder, though. Acting is harder than just doing voiceover.
I don't know. I love working. So I like getting out there. I like being on set. I like, I like leaving the house and doing something, it's fun to be here. And, this was a morning off. So I was like, oh yeah, sure. I'll come in. Let's play and all that.
So you get a morning off and then your wife makes you work. That's not very nice.
Oh, this is fun. See, I guess that's the thing. My work is play. And when you could do that, and I think that you experience that, this is all fun for you guys, right? But it's work.
Generally.
Oh, God, yeah. No question about it. What's so interesting about that, though, I did have the highest rated morning show in America. I had a 40 share in Minneapolis. And the thing about that is that you'd meet people, they'd come over to the table while you're dining out or whatever. And you talk to them and you go, that's kind of weird. And I said, what's weird? And they said, you're not like you are on the radio. I said, what do you think when you stand up in here and start yelling at people in the restaurant? I mean, no, I'm not like that all the time. Of course not. I mean, it's not a fake thing, but it's a part of me that's bigger than the real me. There's no question about it. It's like acting. It's not really, it doesn't sound like you, except for you're doing the role. So it is you.
Right.
A lot of people don't get that. Yeah, that's part of you. That's exactly.
There's a part of us that are, can fit that, if I have to do a villain, there's a part of me that has to figure out where's the connection here? How do I do that? Make that real? Your persona of, hey, we're going to, stick it to the man, all that sort of stuff.
Right, exactly.
Right.
No, it's not fake. It's not fake at all, but it's a lot bigger than I am in real life. There's no question about that.
Yeah, you get the license to do that because this is the microphone is your instrument.
Yeah, well, you have to be interesting because otherwise, why
That
listen?
too.
Yeah, that's part of it. No question. Well, Bill, you're going to have to come on more often because there are a lot more questions I have for you. So once in a while, I'll have to just book you after Kristyn is on.
Kristyn?
Or
Sure,
both of
this
you
is
could be
a lot
on
of
the
fun.
same time. We should do that sometime.
Maybe we could get you to record a little ditty for Kristyn when she comes on.
Oh yeah. It's like, oh Christ, here she is again. That kind of deal.
I know for a long time it was Hollywood Swinging.
It was Hollywood Swinging. That's exactly right.
Can't do that anymore.
No.
They get sued.
So I guess what's the intro going to be? And she's going to write it to the brilliant and wonderful and absolutely dazzling.
That's exactly right.
Perfect. I like it.
Yes.
It's
That's
true.
going to
Bill,
be great.
thank you so much for stepping up. I've always wanted to talk to you. Your wife is very fond of you. I hope you know that.
Oh, thank you.
Well,
it's good to be reminded. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, I know that very well.
I mean, she bothered to marry him. She should like
I know.
Yeah,
I'm still like, are
so
you
true.
sure? And people go, how did that happen? She's great. My
Oh,
family is like, oh,
Yep.
she's great. She's great. Don't mess it up.
I have had friends, honest to God, that, well, I won't even say his name, but we're all sitting around dinner and Catherine was late to the dinner. She had to go do something else. So she joins us later. And when she walked in and sat down across the table from me, there were about 10 of us at the table. And one of the guys looked at her and then stared at me like, what the hell are you doing married to you? Honest to God. So you must get some of that. I mean, your wife is a beautiful woman. You probably get some of that, don't you?
Oh, sure. I get it from my family. They go, what happened?
That's exactly
sure.
They love her. They love talking to her. She's so smart and very caring and, and very giving, as you know. So,
indeed. Well, we love working with her and we got to have you on more often. That was very, very interesting. Thank you so much for stepping in. That was really nice.
Yeah. Keep us surprised of what you're up to.
Yes.
Sure. I think the only thing that's there's a movie because I got into some producing during the pandemic. And that's kind of took over. We can talk about that next time. But there's a movie on Amazon called Wake Up that I produced during the pandemic. It's kind of a heavy subject, deals with human trafficking and the foster care system. But it's, when we toured it was very brief. I'll make this real brief. It actually helped some people. We had some tours and people talked and we connected communities together. And one person came down and said, "Oh, I'm being trafficked." So, and then we got her connected to some help and stuff. So
good for
it made some difference, and then people can see what are the signs and try to avoid those.
And the name of it is
Wake Up.
Wake Up.
And there's a lot of Wake Up movies. This one was released in 2022.
Yeah. Okay.
And where can we find it? Do you know? All over
on Amazon.
On Amazon. Okay.
Yeah. We know you have a Blu-ray player. It's on Blu-ray for $7.49.
We do have a Blu-ray player.
So you can buy it on Blu-ray. Bill, thank you so much again. And we, as I said, we adore working with your wife. She's a very nice person. So having you as part of the team now is great too. Thank you.
My pleasure. Love to meet you guys.
Thank you.
One of these days we'll maybe meet in the middle. That'd be Utah though, so that wouldn't be all great.
Kansas.
Kansas. What do you know? A good restaurant in Kansas? Let's go.
I bet you there's probably a good steak place.
How about New Orleans?
Oh, there we go. That'd be better.
A bad idea. That's going to do it. We will talk to you on Monday.
Bye.
Every time I hear the singing reminds me how you talking.